Hey there, what's happening YouTube? Thanks for stopping back into the channel right here today with the Rust Belt Mechanic. So today we're going to slow it down just a little bit and we're going to be talking about something very, very important that most technicians probably don't think about, and that is insurance. That's right, protecting your investment and your future in your career with the tools and maybe anything else that you might have to be able to help get your job done throughout your life. So we're going to start off tonight talking about some of the things that is most important to you as a technician. Now, obviously, with what a lot of you guys might be thinking, sitting behind this nice fancy toolbox, it is your tools are the most important thing to you.
I have to have my tools!
You'd be 100% wrong. Your hands and your ability to actually be at work is your very first responsibility to be able to even make a paycheck. So the first thing when you need to think about insurance is about insurance for yourself. Now we're going to look at it two ways. When you first go into a job, one of the things that people think that they should negotiate for is, their payment, what they get hourly or what they get flat rate. Well, one of the biggest things that people most of the time look over is health insurance and different benefits that you might get at that new job. Health insurance these days is, we'll say, extremely freaking expensive, man. It's ridiculous. At the last job when I was working at the dealership early on, we had a pretty bad insurance situation, we're going to say. For me, my wife, and my one son, I was paying almost $1,000 a month on insurance. And supposedly that was with the insurance being paid 50% by my employer. I don't know if I really, agree with that one, but that's what they said. Now, there's a lot better situations that you guys can be in, and negotiating for better benefits is one of those things that you need to look into first and foremost when you go into working at a new career. When you first go into a job, obviously you need to get yourself what you think you're worth, and benefits is one big thing. Not just in health insurance, but you also have to think about accident insurance as well. Now, some people haven't really looked into accident insurance. It's a newer thing, I guess, relatively into the scene here in the United States. And over the last decade or so, it's become, I guess, better practice to be able to have this insurance. Now, what is accident insurance, you might say? Us as technicians, we're working on cars pretty much all day long. At least, well, I was. In the dealership, I was working every single day, and then I'd come home, and normally, what do? You go out into the garage, and you're tinkering around, working on other people's cars, working on side-by-side, doing some crazy stuff, driving through fields and all. But the biggest thing you need to worry about is the insurance to be able to keep yourself safe, to be able to come back to work every single day. Accident insurance is going to cover you whether you're working at work or whether you're working at home or doing something else around the house or around the property. It's going to be able to get you paid if for some reason you get sick or get injured and you can't go back to work. Most private insurances that you can get for accident insurance usually will pay from 60 to 70% of your normal paycheck back to you if for some reason you become debilitated and can't go back to work for a certain amount of time. So that's another one of those insurance things that you might want to look into if you're planning on moving forward into your automotive career.
Tools, duct tape, zip ties, and gloves.
All right. Now we can get through that little stuff and we can get into what you guys really wanted to talk about, and that's tools. That's right. This big, massive wall of tools that I have to bring around with me, or that I had at the dealership over the last 12 years. These tools are amazing, and I'd have to say that I was probably one of the guys who had a lot of these tools, not because I really, really needed them, but because I was a tool hoarder and I really wanted them. But needless to say, a lot of them are very important to me to be able to get certain jobs done. And if they were to, say, disappear off the property, I probably wouldn't be able to get a whole lot done in my day-to-day work at the dealership. With everything here and everything I've gone through and been kind of hoarding over the last 12, 13 years, there's a lot of tools here. Now, how many tools? I mean, just imagine and remember, I'm doing all these toolbox tours, and these drawers are full with everything. Sockets, scan tools, diagnostic equipment, specialty tools. There's a lot of freaking tools here. And they're all super important to be able to have to diagnose and work on these cars. I would estimate that the last time I actually counted up all the tools and the value of what I had, there would be somewhere near the amount of $100,000 worth of tools. I know, that's crazy. 100 grand in tools, but for guys who are in the industry for more than 10, 12, 15 years anymore, that's not really out of the norm. Now, I know I was buying a lot of tools for YouTube and doing tool reviews, and like I said, just because I like them, but anymore, there's a lot more shop owners and a lot bigger guys who like more tools than even I do. And they need to keep them protected, both from being stolen or say from fire or anything like that, because there's a lot of pitfalls to having your tools being protected than you might actually think. With this amount of tools, you really have to think about having it protected. Now, the other thing that you might not think about is trying to get that insurance to protect these tools. It might be a little bit harder than you think. First off, most guys, they don't own the building that the tools are actually located in. Everyone who works at the dealership and whatnot, your tools are inside of a building that somebody else owns, and you generally don't even have the keys to the building to get in to get to your tools. Now, me personally, I wouldn't work at a place that I didn't have fully access to my tools, and thankfully the dealership I worked at gave that access to me. But now insurance, if you're a shop owner, is pretty easy. Obviously, you own the building. Anything was inside of it will be covered usually under the business insurance that you have for it. However, as a technician, you don't own the building, so therefore your tools need to be covered in some other way, shape, or form. Now, there's a couple of ways that you can go about this. Some insurance companies, not all, some insurance companies will allow your tools up to a certain dollar amount, say, be covered under your homeowners or renters insurance. Now, also, this is going to be greatly different based on, how much insurance you may have or what your insurance company may allow you to insure. For instance, obviously, if you've got renter's insurance, obviously, they're not going to be able to insure you for as much into the tools. If you have a homeowner's insurance policy, under your homeowner's insurance, you can insure up to a certain percent, obviously, of what would be within your rate of the ownership of the home. Now, obviously, with this amount, $100,000, it doesn't matter what kind of homeowner's insurance policy I have, it's not going to cover it. I would have to pay so much extra in equity on how much that I actually own in my house to be able to cover this much in extra tools. It would be absolutely astronomical to get insurance for this amount of tools and this amount through my homeowner's insurance. I would be paying upwards of $5,000 per year. Now, obviously, when you're looking into the cost and the ratio of what it's worth to how much you're insuring it for, $5,000 to $100,000, that's not really a lot, but that's still a lot of money, $5,000 per year.
Good Lord, that's a lot of money.
Now, there are some other ways that you can go about doing things. First off is you need to look into your employer. Your employer, they might have a specialized policy that says anything that is inside of the dealership or inside that belongs to other people, say other customers, for instance, their cars or whatnot, they are normally covered under their insurance. Now, the other thing you have to watch out for is some dealerships, they only have so much money in insurance to be able to give out for each individual incident. For instance, if your building went up in flames and the dealership had a $500,000 policy for insurance on the contents of whatever portion of the shop, well, depends on how many cars are in there, that portion of insurance might have disappeared really, really quick. So getting your tools and your toolbox covered may not be the highest priority on that shop owner's list. They will most likely say, well, looks like you should have had insurance for your own tools. And that's where there's a couple of other ways that you can go about finding that insurance. Now, there's one spot in particular that I looked through online to be able to find that you can get insurance for your tools even if you don't own the establishment. That's Pro-Tec Insurance. Now, this is not sponsored by them in any way, shape, or form. It's just one of those things where I know of some guys who've gotten insurance through them, and a couple of people said that they really like what they have to offer, and it's a specialized thing for technicians. They offer anywhere from $5 all the way up to $100,000 in coverage for your tools in a building that is not yours, in a building that you do not own. So that's pretty cool of them to be able to do so. Now, there's going to be quite a few other little things that you have to add on top of that. You have to have a very detailed list, and you have to keep up on your tools, the quality that they're in, and any kind of depreciation that you might have on those. Obviously, a 15-year-old test tool may not really be in date, and is not going to be worth the same amount of, say, a brand new one. But even at their highest amount for $100,000 worth of insurance, it's going to only end up costing you right at $1,000 per year to keep insurance on $100,000 worth of tools. Now, if you're looking at that compared to what the homeowner's insurance policy was at being at like $5,000 a year, that $1,000 a year seems pretty reasonable to be able to protect your total investment of tools behind me right here. I would say that'd be greatly worth it. And for any kind of incidents that may happen at the shop, any kind of theft, any loss of tools, or just freak accidents, say the oil change guy put your toolbox through a wall and you can't work for a month. Well, at that point, you're going to be covered. The next thing that I would recommend that you do is to keep a very detailed list of exactly what kind of tools you have. Now, I know you guys really love toolbox tours. And one of the main things that I have here on the channel that are pretty much the biggest videos that I have are toolbox tours. And that's because you guys love seeing toolboxes and the organization in which me and a lot of other technicians put into time and the tools that they put into their boxes. But that might not be the only reason why I like doing toolbox tours. I do an update onto those toolbox tours just about every single year, and that's not just to be able to get views, but that is also for insurance purposes. Sometimes I may not be able to fully categorize or list down every single tool that I might have, the part number. I'm just not that much of a detailed person. I'm not going to keep a full log list of every single tool that's within my possession. Now, with a toolbox tour, however, that gets me a perfectly detailed videographical, array of everything that I own. So everything that you guys see there in my toolbox tour is what I would go back on and see that's posted on YouTube that, hey, this is what I had. You see it, it's right there. I can pause the video, I can go back if for some reason my tools ended up disappearing. I can go back and see that video whenever, wherever. My insurance can see that I owned every bit of those tools, and easy proof, easy evidence of everything that you own. Now, obviously, with all these choices of insurance and with the internet nowadays, there's probably going to be a lot more places that offer insurance policies like this that you might want to go and check out. Now, if you decide to jump on or get on board with any of these insurance policies, the last thing that I recommend that you do is to have a person-to-person sit down with that insurance agent or somebody who's very well versed within the insurance, because you really might end up having the wool covered over your eyes in, we'll say, their blackout areas. So for some reason, I ran into this just in the last month or so. And that was with the trailer that I got stolen. For you guys who didn't know, I had a trailer stolen a couple months ago, and as a matter of fact, we have a few clips towards the end of the video here that'll show what has come out with that as of so far, so stay tuned into that one. Ends up, I had a trailer stolen. Now, with that trailer stolen and all the contents inside of it, you would have thought, yes, I had insurance on the trailer, and it should have paid for that and everything that got stolen. Well, not so much the case. The trailer was stolen, but everything inside the trailer ends up, it's not covered under my trailer insurance. Okay, so what would that be covered under? Because it was in something that was part of my possessions, that would have technically gone under my homeowner's insurance policy, which that's what was covered. So I'm like, okay, well, looks like that's covered. Well, now you're into 2 insurance deductibles because you've made 2 claims now. So your insurance deductible for your household insurance is usually pretty high because it's about 1.6 to 2.5% of what your home's value is for the deductible. So you might be in a pretty high deductible range there. Plus the deductible for the trailer. Now this is where I had the wool pulled over my eyes, and I found something out that I really didn't know. Did you know that in a lot of homeowners on policies, did you know that in a lot of homeowners insurance policies, say if your house was to go up in flames, it does not cover any auto parts that might be damaged, burnt, stolen, whatever. Auto parts are not generally covered for that one. That means any kind of extra wheels, intakes, filters, tires, anything like that would not be covered. Well, I found that out the hard way because I had spare sets of wheels and tires within that trailer as well when it got stolen. So now I actually had to make another claim on my truck insurance for a spare wheel and tire that I had in the trailer. So that's claim number 3 that I have on that. And guess what else was on there? Another set of wheels and tires for the side-by-side. Side-by-side is also insured. Thankfully, didn't have much of a deductible on that one, but 4, that's right, 4 different insurance claims for one single stolen trailer. That really, really stinks. It is not a fun thing to go through. And if I would have taken the time to talk with my insurance agent and look a little bit further into the specific claims and what things are covered and are not covered within these insurance policies, I probably would have found this out sooner and may have taken a different route on insuring certain things within the trailer or having them, put in different areas. So just one of those other things that you guys might want to check out. Now go through with your insurance policy agent or whoever it might be. You want to go through your entire policy and be able to find out any of those blackout areas, because really you don't want the wool pulled over your eyes in these situations. Trust me, it's not fun. Anyways, with doing insurance, let's go look at the one thing that was cool about insurance, that having my trailer stolen, it actually turned out an all right situation, and I actually just got it replaced. Unfortunately, no, we didn't find the old one, and we didn't get a ring the neck of the guy or girl, whoever who ended up stealing the trailer, but let's go jump over there. Now, since we're here talking about insurance and all, this is a really good platform to be able to show you what insurance is actually good for. For everybody who hasn't been stopping in on the channel, you know that a couple of weeks ago to like a month ago, I actually had a trailer stolen right out from under me. Really kind of still under my skin on that one. Didn't end up finding it, but thankfully I did have insurance on the trailer and all the contents in it. So this is actually my newest trailer and newest addition to the channel that you guys can check out right here. Let's have a look. Here we are, guys. It looks pretty darn similar. This is a 20 foot, I guess it would be 22 and a half with the V nose extended height trailer. It's pretty similar to the one that I had. It was a 20 foot as well. It does not have the extended tongue on it, unfortunately. So, a little bit different on the maneuverability, but really not too bad. Up and down in a couple little areas. It is nice having the extra guards here in the front. My other one did not have that one, but as you guys can tell, there's a whole lot more screws and stuff in the side. And that generally is because this is a lot thinner sheet metal along the side of the actual trailer. Not too bad, but the biggest thing that I did love that upgraded was the axles. Before, that other trailer only had 3,500 pound axles and only had brakes on one of the wheels. This, or I should say one of the axles. This one, however, got upgraded to aluminum wheels, really nice with 10-ply radials, really sweet high-load wheels and tires and everything, and upgraded to heavy-duty brakes on both of these axles. Really nice to be able to have that one, because having this thing loaded down with the side-by-side and all the gear and stuff to take on to vacations and all is, pretty nice to have. That was kind of scary this last year without upgraded brakes. But to the more negative stuff, the inside of this one is not nearly as nice. The walls on this one do not have the vinyl lining like the other one had, and unfortunately I don't have my fancy Raptor bedline floor anymore, which I'm hoping this year we might be able to handle that one. So we're going to see what we can do with doing that one and doing some upgrades to this one, because I want to make this trailer a little bit nicer. So we might be having some videos coming along here where I'm going to be doing some upgrades. I want to do some stuff with the walls. I want to do the vinyl on that. I'm debating on whether I want to do rafter bedline floor or do a rubberized floor, just for ease of cleaning and everything. But you know, it is what it is. But here's the new trailer, guys, for you guys who didn't know. It's going to be a fun project coming up. Well, guys, that's about all the information I've got for you today. You know, as you can tell, insurance is heavily important in our field, especially when it comes to everything that you can think of. Our tools, our boxes, our toys, everything afterwards. Insurance is definitely important. And just like you guys can see here, extremely important to me. Good to have good insurance. Definitely check these out. All the links are going to be down in the description below for everything that I described before. If you guys enjoyed this one, make sure you hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, make sure you get notified when I come out with cool, awesome content like this one here today. You need to hit that bell notification. Make sure you go ahead and press it. It's right there. It's right there. Go ahead and do it.
Do it! Just do it!
Appreciate you stopping by. And as always, you guys stay awesome.
In a lot of homeowners on policies